Hey, guess what? It's the off season. Hey, guess what? It's the off season. I'm still here. Hey, what the heck am I doing? There's no football. What the heck are you doing, Hassan? Why do you got an episode of Time2Football out? Well, for you guys that are committed to the NFL, love football day in and day out, and can't get enough of it, this show is for you. Welcome to a brand new episode of Time2Football. My name is Hassan Khan, the host of this channel that we like to call Time2Football. Glad you guys are able to join us on this wonderful, marvelous, amazing, beautiful Wednesday afternoon, morning, depending on which time zone you're listening to this podcast. If you guys are listening to us on iTunes, go ahead over to our YouTube channel. We're going to be coming out with much more content on the YouTube channel throughout the offseason. And for you guys that are watching on YouTube, vice versa, go head on over to iTunes so you can listen to us on the go. So what the deal is with this podcast is, throughout the season, we were doing Monday through Friday. During the offseason, we're going to do it a weekly format. Now, I still don't know 100% on the day and the time. It's more than likely going to be Wednesday around this time. More than likely. I have dabbled with maybe Thursday, but Thursday I thought to myself, maybe that might be too late. I don't know. I'm still dabbling with it. I don't like this time of 12 o'clock. If you guys are watching this right now, I'm just kind of experimenting just to see what gets the most amount of traction. So for you guys that are loyal viewers, bear with me. I know that 10 a.m. time is a constant, and you guys are used to it, and we might be going back to that 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesdays every week throughout the off season. But for now, I just wanted to go ahead and test out different times. So if you guys have the opportunity to join in the notification gang, thank you so much for joining in. I encourage you guys to leave a comment down below in the live chat. I don't know how interactive this will be throughout the offseason, but let's just find out. Doesn't hurt to try. So interact with us throughout the duration of the show, as we're going to be talking about the franchise tag, that the window is now open for certain players to get franchise tagged by their teams. Listen, all 32 teams have a franchise tag. One tag that they can place on one player. Which player will it be if they can't come to a long-term deal with these players? We're going to find out and talk about that, discuss that a little bit later on. We're also going to be talking about Kevin OConnell, the new Minnesota Vikings head coach, and why he is primed for success going into 2022. We're going to get into that, as well as interacting with you guys in the live chat. I encourage you guys throughout the duration of this show to head on over to our Discord server. So if you don't know how this works, you can click that link in the description of this YouTube video. Head on over to Discord, join in on the voice channel under the waiting room channel. You'll see it if you join our Discord server, and just hang out there for the next 20, 25, 30 minutes, however long this show is. I'll be pulling you, and any sort of questions you guys have, if you want to just talk about football in general, I encourage you guys to join in on that Discord server and let us know what you have on your mind NFL-wise. With all that said, man, hey, off-season, Super Bowl was great. It was great taking a week off. I took a little bit of a break for posting a lot of content. Didn't post too much just because, you're grinding throughout the season. No pun intended, Urban Meyer. And then you just take a little bit of a week off because you just want to relax and get used to, all right, let me just take a break. Now let's get back into it. So we got back into it. If you're following Time2Football, you know our off-season schedule, which we're going to be talking about and discussing a little bit later on. First off, let's get into NFL news and notes that's been going around as of late for the last week or so. If you're tuning into the show on YouTube, you can kind of see the topic bar, what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about NFL news and notes. And then we have a segment where we're going to be talking about how it was like to interview the players throughout the Super Bowl week. If you missed any of those interviews, I encourage you guys to go back and watch those. But I got a lot of requests regarding, hey, how do you get in touch with players? How do you interview these players? How does it work? What's the process like? So I thought, okay, since it's the offseason, we don't really have much to talk about. I'm going to spend some time talking about that. And then we're going to be talking about Kevin OConnell and why he's primed for success in 2022. And then we're going to be discussing with the guys in the live chat. We got Melee actually joining in saying hello, giving us the waving hand emoji. Miguel coming in saying, hello, coach. Let's go. Hey, listen, he calls me coach because of the fantasy football advice that I give. Which, by the way, Miguel, if you're tuning in, and anybody else that is interested in fantasy football, you do not want to miss Friday's video. Friday afternoon-ish, I'm going to be dropping a video. We're going to be talking about fantasy football. Don't want to miss that. Every Friday, we're going to be talking about fantasy football throughout the offseason. So, yeah, I encourage you guys to stay tuned for that. Subscribe to this channel so you can go ahead and stay up to date when we come out with those videos. NFL news and notes that we have for you guys here today. This is kind of recapping the last week, last few days. So a lot of this you probably already heard, but you didn't hear my opinion on it. So let's go ahead and talk about that. Brian Flores has been hired as a senior defensive assistant and a linebackers coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Tomlin in good graces with Brian Flores, who's going through this NFL lawsuit in regards to the alleged racist allegations as far as the Denver Broncos go, as far as the New York Giants, and just like personal misconduct as far as the not professional interview process with the Denver Broncos, and personal misconduct as far as Stephen Ross, the owner of the Miami Dolphins, bribing Brian Flores to lose some games so that they could have the number 1 overall pick and draft Joe Burrow in 2020. That is still under investigation. And as far as we know, per reports, the Dolphins are in serious trouble because that actually might be true. Uh-oh. Stephen Ross, not looking good. Not looking good at all. So Brian Flores, in the meantime, will be coaching in the NFL in 2022 after he was a favorite from the Houston Texans, was not hired. They gave that job to Lovie Smith, but he'll be on the sidelines in 2022. Aaron Donald says that he'll return if Von Miller and OBJ were to return as well. Von Miller and OBJ, both of them are impending free agents. The cap space, less need. Wearing the t-shirt during the parade. F those picks. F those picks. We don't care about those picks, but they also did not care about cap space. Didn't matter. Didn't matter. You're going to have to make some serious decisions. Less need in the Rams for 2022 if you want to repeat, because Von Miller, OBJ, Darius Williams, Sony Michel, all these guys that helped contribute in a Super Bowl championship, very, very unlikely that you're going to be retaining all of them. So Aaron Donald, the star defensive player, who's been talked about retiring, has said, I'll come back if Von Miller and OBJ were to come back as well. So that is the news with Aaron Donald. We have a couple of cuts in the NFL because some cuts still happen in the offseason. Chiefs cut veteran linebacker Anthony Hitchens, who was a part of the Super Bowl 54 team. He's been on the team for 4 years. They freed up about $8 million in cap space by releasing Anthony Hitchens. It was a business decision at that point. The Chiefs decided to release him. Brett Maher has been released by the New Orleans Saints, who is the kicker for the last half of the season after a season where Will Lutz got hurt, had an abdominal injury, had surgery, placed on injured reserve. They experimented with Aldrick Rosas. Brett Maher eventually won the job. He's been cut. It's looking like that Will Lutz, I think he's an impending free agent, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know if the Saints are going to re-sign Lutz or if they're going to go in a different direction. But that's the news as far as the kicker position goes for the New Orleans Saints. They have cut their kicker. The Washington Commanders updated their logo. Okay, I don't know if you guys have kept up with social media, but there's been a lot of backlash as far as, hey, this Commanders logo, not accurate. Hey, it doesn't make any sense. The Commanders logo actually has Super Bowl winning years that are not accurate. Let me go ahead and show you a visual real quick. So let me show you the tweet that the Washington Commanders official Twitter tweeted out, showing the updated logo. We scooch on over here, as people from the Midwest would say. We heard you loud and clear. Huh? Going forward, our crest will reflect our Super Bowl victories during the year from that regular season. All right, so this is what it is, okay? So we've got, let me see if I can kind of zoom in a bit. Whatever. So these are the years that they won their NFL championship, 1937, 1942, and then the Super Bowl championship, 1982, 1987, 1991. Now, previously, it said 1983, 1988, and 1992, meaning that they won the Super Bowl in those years. Like, physically, 1992 was when back then, the Redskins won the Super Bowl. Well, a lot of people said, listen, that's not kind of accurate. I mean, you're saying that they won the Super Bowl that year, but the season, like the 2021 Los Angeles Rams won the Super Bowl. I know that they played in 2022, but it was the 2021 Rams because it was during the 2021 season. Well, the Commanders president came out and said, no, actually, it kind of falls in line with the NFL. Like the Redskins won in 92, even though it was the 91 winning team. I don't know. I was like, this, I mean, I would go with the season that you played in because you played the majority of your football during that season. So it's the 91 team that won the Super Bowl. They finally listened to the people. As the Washington Commanders said, we heard you loud and clear, and we have changed the logo to reflect that. So that was a little bit of an uh-oh on the Washington Commanders' part. I know that some thought process went behind it, though, to put down 1992. I know some people within the organization were like, shouldn't we put down 91? I know it's not like a big uh-oh. They considered it, but yeah, at that point, they went ahead and fixed it up. The Washington Commanders, they should be free from any backlash regarding the name because there's absolutely no one on this earth that hates that name. Washington Commanders, absolutely 100% of Commanders fans love the name Washington Commanders. Patriots cornerback J.C. Jackson is upset with the contract talks that he's having with the New England Patriots, or should I say the lack thereof. J.C. Jackson, Pro Bowl appearance, 8 interceptions on the season. Up-and-coming defensive back, one of the better defensive backs in the NFL. Yet the Patriots have not even told him, we're not interested in re-signing you. They're just being dead silent, giving them the silent treatment, not saying anything. So J.C. Jackson is up in limbo. He's upset that the Patriots haven't even talked to him about the contract talks, haven't even had a discussion like, well, you're just a little bit too expensive. We can't afford you. I'd appreciate that. Hey, listen, the number one rule in business, and I know that a lot of people don't agree with this, but I'm a different breed. And this has it made me a lot of money by following this one rule. So for you guys that are interested in this, listen up. Reply to every single offer that you get. Every single one, even if it's something that you don't have an interest in. Listen, for the show, I've gotten so many offers from like men's healthcare products, like skincare products. I'm like, my audience doesn't care about that. I mean, come on, we're a bunch of internet basement dwellers anyways. You know that World of Warcraft episode of South Park? The guy's just down at the bottom and he's kind of leaning back like this, and then he like eats the chips, has like the glove on his hand, and like the chip falls down and he looks down at it. And he does that. Yeah, we're that. Why do we care about skincare? Who cares? Who cares? Nothing wrong if you look like that. Nothing, like, who cares? But, like, I've replied to every single one of those skincare or those sponsorship offers I've gotten that my audience would be interested in. And I was like, listen, the money sounds amazing, but I'm not interested. But there have been times where some people have reached out to me, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm interested. I'm going to go ahead and decline. But since I reached out to them, they were like, hey, no, like, listen, we're going to revise our offer. We're going to offer you a lot more money. This is a best deal that you're going to get. And they would offer me a lot of money because I replied back. If I was just dead silent and I didn't say anything, I would have missed out on this opportunity to sign a contract. It would have given me like a few grand. You know, so like that's the number one rule for business. Always, always, always reply to everything. Never leave anyone in limbo. I've applied for so many jobs as well where they won't even email you back. I've reached out to so many people, so many sports agents, so many players, like their agents, their representatives as well for like interview requests, never had a reply back. Like you always have to reply back. And the Patriots aren't replying back to J.C. Jackson. So that's number one for the New England Patriots. Like, you're going to lose out on a Pro Bowl corner if, hey, you never know. Like, J.C. Jackson might be okay with taking less money if you just have the conversation with him. But J.C. Jackson is upset about that, which kind of leads us into the franchise tag and the players that we want to talk about that might be franchise tag. Let's go ahead and wait on that actually in a bit. But J.C. Jackson is a candidate. I'll go ahead and give you a little bit of a heads up on that. Bruce Arians has confidence in Blaine Gabbert as their starting quarterback. If the season started today, Bruce Arians is confident that Blaine Gabbert will be the quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He has faith in him. Listen, Blaine Gabbert has been dealt with a shorthand. I'm not saying that, Blaine Gabbert is the next Tom Brady. Obviously, he's not. But 8 different head coaches and 8 different offensive coordinators in his first 8 years. Yeah, that's who's going to have consistency at that quarterback position if you go through so much turmoil and so much change in the coaching staff. Blaine Gabbert is being talked about as being a legit candidate to replace Tom Brady. Bruce Arians, this shouldn't be a surprise for you guys that have been keeping up with the NFL news. Bruce Arians has stated in 2020, hey, if Tom Brady retires, Blaine Gabbert will be the guy. And fast forward to 2022, Tom Brady retired, Blaine Gabbert has a shot. It's not going to rule out the fact that they're going to go after Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, maybe even Deshaun Watson. But he has a shot. Odell Beckham Jr. underwent successful surgery on his ACL. He should be good to go. I don't know by the beginning of next season, but we'll just monitor his progress, success, surgery as far as Odell Beckham goes. Kevin Colbert, speaking of another quarterback position, if the season started today, the general manager of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Kevin Colbert, who is going to be retiring after the NFL draft, has stated that Mason Rudolph would be the starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I know that Kevin Colbert isn't going to be like throwing the Steelers underneath the bus. He's not going to be like, I don't care. I'm retiring anyways. This doesn't affect me. But, I mean, it's interesting to think like, hey, you're retiring. Why would you even say that Mason Rudolph would be the starting quarterback of the Steelers? Are you not even putting any effort into getting a quarterback in the draft? And I think they will. But Kevin Colbert has come out and said, listen, if the season started today, Mason Rudolph would be the starter. That's not ruling out the fact that we might be drafting a quarterback. We might be adding to the quarterback room later on in the offseason, but Mason Rudolph would be the starter as of right now. Doug Peterson is set to call the offensive plays in Jacksonville. This is so good news for Trevor Lawrence and that offense. Doug Peterson, great offensive-minded coach, offensive coordinator of the Kansas City Chiefs under Andy Reid, went to the Philadelphia Eagles, had a pretty decent offense over there, I would say, during his tenure in Philadelphia, especially in 2017 when Carson Wentz was just playing out of his mind under Frank Reich and those guys. Yeah, I'd say Doug Peterson calling the offensive plays in Jacksonville, pretty great. Press Taylor is the offensive coordinator who's kind of underneath the Doug Peterson coaching tree, but it seems like that Doug Peterson's going to be taking control of his offensive plays. Travis Etienne says that there's an 80 to 85% chance that his foot is fully recovered. He says that he's 80-85% at this point, so he should be good to go by the start of OTAs. I would say he's going to be practicing with almost no limitation. And then finally, the last little bit of NFL news: Jarvis Landry says that he played injured. He was injured in week 2. And then he was rushed back. Let me go ahead and pull up this per Pro Football Chase. So this is what Jarvis Landry tweeted out, but this is on Pro Football Chase's Twitter, or Instagram, I should say. By the way, if you don't follow Pro Football Chase on Instagram, no affiliation to us. Like, this is where I go for my NFL news. Like, he's just so freaking fast, like faster than Adam Schefter. And you're like, how the heck did he get this information so fast? I don't know. But let me go ahead and show what he posted about this. Let me go ahead and get that little graphic off the screen so you guys can go ahead and fully read this for you guys that are watching this on YouTube. But, all right, so this is what Jarvis Landry had to say. Reality behind all this is I came back to play in the best shape of my life. I got hurt week 2 with a high-grade MCL sprain, partial quad tear, and bone bruise, then came back way too early and ended up staying hurt the entire season. You never heard me mention anything about it. Also, my media availability didn't happen because I was focused on getting on the field as healthy as possible during the week and after games. A strategic plan was set in place to be followed, but Yeah, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Place to be followed. I put the ball in Cleveland's court by telling them I would like to stay. But if not, then I'm confident enough in myself to be a better, healthy me this year and moving forward to help me do my part in winning a championship elsewhere. So that's what's on Jarvis Landry's mind. Now, Landry's reps are scheduled to meet with the Browns general manager Andrew Berry at the scouting combine to discuss his future, which is next week. We'll be monitoring that. Landry started 12 games this season and caught 52 passes for 570 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he also rushed for a couple of scores as well. I think if we get to the numbers, the Browns can save $14.8 million in cap space by releasing or trading Landry, while only taking on $1.5 million on dead money. So for you guys that are interested in salary caps and those numbers, $14 million versus $1 million, I mean, that's like a net of $13 million at that point. Like, yeah, that's well worth it to get rid of Jarvis Landry at this point. If you don't really care about your wide receiver core, which you don't, per how this wide receiver core has looked the last few years. But yeah, that's the news on Jarvis Landry. Oh, man, I don't mean to bash anyone. All right, let's talk about the franchise tag real quick. So the franchise tag window is now open. Let me go ahead and pull up something. Actually, per Pro Football Chase and what he said. Let's go ahead and see because he gave a great description on the franchise tag and like the window that's open and how much time each team has to assign their players to an extension. I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see. And then let me go ahead and go here to the corner. So yeah, the franchise tag / transition tag. So there's a little bit of a difference, and I'll explain that in a bit. Window opens up today and ends on March 8th. So after the scouting combine. That's why a lot of teams are like, hey, if you're going to be at the scouting combine, general manager, whoever it may be, let's meet up. Let's talk about this player, that player. All the agents are there as well. They want to go ahead and get some long-term deals done because that's the best opportunity to be face-to-face. NFL teams are now eligible to place the franchise / transition tag on impending free agents. The transition tag is a 1-year tender offer for the average of the top 10 salaries at the position. So pretty much in layman's term, it's a lot of freaking money. 1-year offer, a lot of money. So you better hope that the person that you're placing the franchise tag on is one of the better players at their position in the NFL. Otherwise, it's not worth it. It guarantees the original club the right of first refusal to match any offer the player might receive from another team and free agency. So this is the transition tag that we're talking about. Some names to watch ahead of March 8th's 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time deadline is, he gave a great description on this. J.C. Jackson of the Patriots, Packers, Devontae Adams, Jesse Bates of the Bengals, Chandler Jones of the Cardinals, Orlando Brown of the Chiefs, Titans, Harold Landry, and Mike Gesicki of the Dolphins. The NFL new league year begins on March 14th, so that's when free agency begins at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and is when the negotiating window opens for impending free agents. So those are the names that we're really looking forward to and really want to monitor. Are these players going to sign a long-term extension, or are they going to be placed underneath the franchise tag? We still don't know at this point. But, I mean, you're looking at these names, and you're like, okay, J.C. Jackson makes sense. Like, you can't agree to a long-term deal. You want to see maybe 1-year prove-it deal. Okay, sure. Devontae Adams, that makes a lot of sense. Like, he's one of the, if not the best wide receiver in the NFL. Like, you can't agree to a long-term extension with, I mean, you don't know the future of Aaron Rodgers. It just makes a lot of sense with him. Then you got some other names, too, like veteran players like Jesse Bates, who's been a long-term veteran for the Bengals. Chandler Jones, long-term veteran for the Cardinals. Orlando Brown, he's a younger player, but if you can't agree to a long-term extension, you might want to franchise tag him. And then you got Mike Gesicki down here. Okay, I've been a big advocate of Mike Gesicki for a very long time, ever since he was drafted in 2018. I've always told myself, I always told everyone, always told my audience that if Mike Gesicki had the opportunity to be a part of a high-passing offense, no doubt about it, no doubt, he would be a 1,000-yard receiver every single year, especially with the extra 17th game. Like, Mike Gesicki is so freaking talented, and the fact of, like, oh, man, the fact that he did so much in Miami with so little, like, blows my mind. Like, if he had a top-tier quarterback, game over. He would be the best tight end in the NFL. One of the best tight ends, next to George Kittle, next to Mark Andrews, next to Travis Kelce. I'm on maybe like a tier below that, but he'd be one of the best. So that makes a lot of sense why you want to franchise tag him, and you're okay with paying him like maybe $11 to $13 million this season. But that's the update on the franchise tag. I mean, if you have any sort of players that you feel like could be franchise tag besides those players I just read out, go ahead and leave your comment down below. Daniel asking, who do you think the Vikings are going to tag? That's a very good question. I'm going to actually have to do a little bit of research here while I pull up the Vikings impending free agents for 2022. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next segment that we have in this show. I'm actually pulling it up right now. So let me see. Ooh, we got some big names, actually, as a matter of fact. So let me go ahead and transition here. Dude, yes! Yes! Dude, look at the ads. I've always wanted ads. Everywhere. Everywhere. Dude, I've always loved ads so much. Yes! I can buy a home? Oh, it's a roofing ad. Yeah, sure, I'll buy your 2-bedroom home for $500,000. Nowadays, what it's like. Okay, so anyways, look at these names right here. Let me go ahead and make this a little bit bigger for you guys. Yes, Verbo, another ad. Dude, have you seen that thing about, it's like, there's a company out there, MoviePass. Yes, MoviePass, that's who it is. He said, the CEO, Stacy something, she said, they're implementing some sort of software into the app where if an ad plays, and you look away from the ad pauses. What? Yeah, dude. You can't look away from the ad that's playing. You can't place your phone down for 30 seconds and be like, oh, ad over. Nah, you gotta watch that whole thing through. There's software throughout the software, throughout the iPhone camera, Android camera, whatever phone you use. When you look at it, you have to look at the freaking ad the whole time. What in the world is that? Hey, MoviePass, thank you for giving me a reason why I shouldn't use MoviePass. Hey, MoviePass, watch out. Your stocks? This world, man. Freaking world. All right. After I went on my tangent, let me go ahead and pull up the Minnesota Vikings impending free agents. Anthony Barr. All right. Xavier Woods, I don't think he's going to get franchise tagged. Ooh, Everson Griffin. He's a little bit older. And he's going through some stuff. I don't think that's the best choice. Sheldon Richardson is a little bit older too. If anyone has to be franchise tagged, it would be Anthony Barr. Yeah, he's a first-round pick from 2014. Has been a solid piece for the Minnesota Vikings. So to answer your question, yeah, I mean, impending free agent, franchise tag, Anthony Barr. They got a lot to do on that defense. I'm looking at it right now. Oh my gosh, I'm looking at it. You got Sheldon Richardson, Anthony Barr, Patrick Peterson, Xavier Woods. Oh my gosh, Mackenzie Alexander, dude. There's so many players on this defense they need to resign. They need to think about this right now. Oh my gosh, that's gonna be tough for them. All right, well. Let me go ahead and take a moment to, I know that we got Kevin and Connor that we're going to be talking about, and then we're going to be discussing with the live chat in just a bit. But I've been getting this request. I've actually been getting this question a lot. And no, it's not like one of those things where like girls on Instagram will be like, I've been getting a lot of requests on my skincare routine. I'm like, who? Who asked you? Hey, no one asked you. Hey, why you posted this photo about, or your video about your skincare routine saying that you had a lot of requests? Who asked you? No one. No, I legit got comments asking like, hey, how was it like interviewing players during Super Bowl Media Day? How does it happen? What's the process? How do you do it? How do you get in touch with these players? So if you don't know what we're talking about, go back to our YouTube channel and there's like a playlist of just NFL interviews, player interviews. And it's for the past 4 Super Bowls that we've been able to get access and interview the players that have been able to play and participate in the Super Bowl. So how that started was when the Super Bowl was in Atlanta. This show is based out of Atlanta. We live here. ATL, ho, don't disrespect it. We live here. Love it. Came to Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Was it Mercedes-Benz or was it Georgia Dome that they played in? Mercedes-Benz. It was Mercedes-Benz. And when the Patriots and the Rams came here for Super Bowl 53, I just reached out to the NFL. I just emailed them. I said, listen, hey, what are the chances of me getting access to interviewing players? And they said, hey, send your credentials, show us what you got, show us you're legit, and we'll look it over. So I went ahead and applied. You got to go to a website. You got to apply. And then they got back to me and said, okay, now you're an accredited member of the NFL, like a media member. I was like, sweet. So since you're accredited, you can go ahead and just email them for future events. Just be like, hey, I want to go ahead and get access to this. Now, if it's like a bigger event like the Super Bowl, they're going to reserve that for like bigger people. Like I'm not that big. So they're going to reserve that for that. But if it's like, hey, I hear that there's media day going on where you can interview players. Let me go ahead and see if I have a shot of interviewing these players. They go ahead and like see, okay, yeah, you're accredited. Sure, you have access. So I've been able to do that for the last 4 years. In the last 2 years, it's been over Zoom, so you can only ask like one question at a time for a player, which is a little bit not the best, but like I mean, it's okay. It's whatever. It's I'm just grateful for the opportunity to interview players. But yeah, I mean, it was great. It was a great experience interviewing these players ahead of the Super Bowl. This past year, something happened with the NFL. They speaking of not replying back, they did not reply back to me. I have 3 different NFL emails, like 3 different emails I can reach out to, and I reached out to all 3 of them like every single day leading up to media day. They never responded. I had to be a Karen, so I missed like 1 day of interviewing players, but it was okay. Like they eventually got back to me and it worked out. But yeah, it's been fun this whole entire experience interviewing players. Oh, dude, let me tell you a story about. Oh my gosh, let me see if I can pull this up. I have footage of this. Oh my gosh, y'all are gonna laugh. All right, so let me go ahead and mute this right now. All right, Tyreek Hill went to the Super Bowl. So this is Super Bowl 54. We drove down from Atlanta to Miami to interview Chiefs players and 49ers players. And then Tyreek Hill was at a podium. Now, the story ends. We eventually got an interview with Tyreek Hill. We eventually got it. The audio sucked, so we didn't post it on YouTube. But we eventually got the interview with Tyreek Hill. But we drove down from Atlanta to Miami to interview Chiefs and 49ers players. Tyreek Hill is sitting at a podium. And how it works is if I'm sitting right here, there's a plethora of media members circling around me waiting for the chance to go up to him, go up to the barricade and just ask a question real quick. Hey, Tyreek, what do you think of the game? Whatever, etc. And he answers. Okay? So let me go ahead and show you a visual right here. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I still have this video. This is amazing. Oh gosh, where is it at? All right. So here it is. All right, I got the video right here. Oh, it's not playing. It's not playing. Hey, what's going on here? Technical difficulties. All right, well, it's a little slow right here. Okay, well, hey, we're live. We're live. Anything could happen live. Anything could happen live. Anyways, whatever. The video isn't working, but let me go ahead and explain Extra. Do you guys know what Extra is? The like Entertainment Tonight, like the gossipy pop culture show. Anyways, Extra was there. Which, by the way, like if you're covering the NFL, why are you there? Why are you there? Whatever. Like they don't even whatever. So they were there, and there was one woman. She's a host, Jennifer, not Lawrence, Jennifer, whatever, Jennifer something, and she was a host there, and I'm waiting for my turn to ask a bomb ass question to Tyreek Hill, right? And then I'm about to, gosh, it's not gonna work if I don't have the visual here. If it's not playing, golly, forget this. All right, you know what? Oh, it's working right now. Come on. Work for me. Work for me. Work for me. We're live, brother. We're live. Okay. Anyways, well, I guess I'm just going to have to show you a still of this. Anyways, I'm about to answer a question, right? You can see me right there. You can see me right there. I'm about to answer a question. And then this woman right here, who works for Extra, comes up, cuts me in line, and starts asking Tyreek Hill a dumb question. She's like, hey, I have a helmet filled with lots of questions. I want to go ahead and ask you these questions. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Gosh, I really wish this would work. Then you can see my reaction. All right, so like it's not working. Anyways, whatever. I was upset, and I have beef with Extra. Anyways, you get experiences like that. Like people will media is just savage sometimes. Anyways, whatever. I'll post this. I'll re-record it, and I'll talk about it. I'll post this probably on TikTok or something. So go ahead and follow me on there, and then you can see the full story with a visual of me being upset because my face in this is freaking hilarious. I was livid. I was so mad. Anyways, that's how it's like interviewing players. I'm sorry that just, gosh, freaking visual did not work on that. It's okay. All right, let's go ahead and take a moment to talk about Kevin O'Connell. So Kevin O'Connell is the next head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. He had a press conference. It's official now. Last week, they went ahead and announced him. A young regime that they have in Minnesota. Very young. Like, I think the general manager is 36 as well, on top of Kevin O'Connell. But we're going to give you a little bit of an explanation on why Kevin O'Connell, out of all the head coaches, is primed for the most amount of success in 2022. Let me go ahead and first show you a video. This is the interview that we had with Kevin O'Connell back in Super Bowl week prior to his game against the Cincinnati Bengals when he was the offensive coordinator of the LA Rams. If you guys didn't have a chance to watch this full video, you can go back to our channel and watch that interview. But let me go ahead and just show you the video right now. If you've already watched this, you can skip over this. If not, then go ahead and check this out. Dude, you got to be kidding me. Is this not working either? Oh my gosh, it's QuickTime Player. All right, let me go ahead and pull this back up. It's okay. It's okay. QuickTime Player cannot be open. Oh, dude. Oh, it's my hard drive. Oh, my hard drive is failing. Oh, that's great. I just spent $250 on this. Oh, okay, so it's not pulling up because of that. Okay, that's okay. Well, anyways, let's get into Kevin O'Connell first, and then if we have time to show you the interview, we can show you the interview later on. Gosh, this is live, and this is all a one-man show. This is probably the worst show that I've had ever. This is all, like, crappy all over the place. So if you guys are still tuning in, what the heck are you doing? Get out of here. But let's go ahead and talk about Kevin O'Connell real quick. Why is Kevin O'Connell primed for the most amount of success in 2022 out of all the head coaches? A lot of people are going to criticize him because they're like, hey, he's a product of Sean McVay. Like, Sean McVay is the one that calls the offensive plays. He's not even that good. He's just like a figurehead. Like, why is Kevin O'Connell? Well, if you remember, if you're a loyal viewer, about a couple months ago, a month ago, maybe even, after Black Monday, I had this topic on the show where I talked about which head coaching positions were the most valuable, were the most sought out after. Like, which positions would you be hired in and be like, listen, I could have success for many, many years to come. And the number one team that we had, Minnesota Vikings. And then afterwards, the New Orleans Saints position opened up. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe it's the New Orleans Saints. And then I really thought about it. I'm like, nah, still the Minnesota Vikings. Let me explain why. The Vikings were in so many close games last season. So many. They gave up a lot of good leads. Really. Looked like the Atlanta Falcons out there. Calm down. I'm an Atlanta Falcons fan. I can make fun of their team. But the Vikings were in so many close games, and they just weren't able to close it. Like, it's like, oh, man. If you just closed this game, if you just made this field goal, if you just stopped them on defense here, if you just, like Greg Joseph, you just converted this against the Cardinals, if you just stopped Cooper Rush against the Cowboys, or if you just, didn't blow it against the Detroit Lions on the last second, giving them their first win of the season. Like, there's so many games and so many opportunities that the Lions or the Vikings could have closed these games out, could have won. They were so close. That's why I told myself, like, man, that Vikings team is there. They're already a playoff-worthy team. They already are, talent-wise. They just couldn't close out games. And if you can't close out games, the only thing that's holding you back is coaching. And Mike Zimmer, let go, grumpy attitude, didn't put up with anything, gone. Successful coach, very good coach, but gone. Couldn't close out the games. Rick Spielman, Slick Rick, gone. General manager, gone. They're done. Now in comes a young stud and Kevin O'Connell that's more of a player's coach. I mean, the last time he played in the NFL was the early 2010s. This is not that far removed from his playing career. Can relate to the players nowadays. The only thing that needs to change with this Minnesota Vikings team is to close out games. Now they have other holes as well. I mean, if you tuned into the show earlier, you saw the list of free agents, like defense. Oh my gosh, like defense, they have a lot of free agents coming up. Anthony Barr, they got to think about franchise tagging him, like Xavier Rhodes, Patrick Peterson. Like, there's so many impending free agents that you got to take care of. Understand. Get that. But if you can fix up that defense, you can fix up that secondary, especially because they give up a lot of yards, big plays in the secondary. Then what's stopping them? What's stopping them from making a playoff push after being so close? Not so close, but being about 2 wins away removed from making the postseason. Just close out those games. Close out those games and you'd be fine. Like, they were so close. They could easily be a 10-7 team. Easily. 10-7. Easily could have been the record. But Kevin O'Connell comes in. Hopefully he can close out those games. Now, another reason why is, listen, you're already familiar with Kirk Cousins. He's come out. I'm sorry for you guys that are not Kirk stans. That's a new term on the Minnesota Vikings subreddit where, stan like Eminem, like, hey, that means that you're obsessed with someone. Well, Kirk Cousins, they have Kirk stans out there that are obsessed with Kirk Cousins, and they are blinded by his beautiful, piercing eyes and whatever. And they can't admit that Kirk Cousins is the reason why the Minnesota Vikings are falling down. Now, I know that there are some people that are against that and non-Kirk stans, but call me a Kirk stan, but I think that Kirk Cousins is completely fine. I don't want to say completely. Because he is kind of responsible for not closing out some of those games. But he's the best that you're going to get. Hey, he is above average. And guess what? That is okay. Do you realistically, just looking at the stats, looking at his numbers, looking at his talent, do you realistically think that if everything else on the team was perfect and you had Kirk Cousins, like Kirk Cousins would be the one preventing you from making the Super Bowl? I think Kirk Cousins would be a great asset because if Kirk Cousins isn't there, who else is going to replace Cousins? Jimmy Garoppolo? Nah. Who are you going to draft? Malik Willis? Sam Howell? Nah. Who are you going to trade for? Russell Wilson? Well, you got to work out a deal with someone else for Kirk Cousins. Is Kellen Mond going to take over? Nah. Kirk Cousins is the best that you're going to get, and Cousins is very capable of leading a Minnesota Vikings team to a Super Bowl if given the right team around him. Now, he's a game changer in himself. I'm going to go ahead and admit that. Like, he's capable of, hey, if you're down, let me go ahead and throw it to Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, whoever it may be, and lead this team down the field and score some points. He's capable of doing that. Very much capable. But the fact that he has familiarity with Kevin O'Connell, 2017, when they were both on the Redskins back in the day, Kevin O'Connell was the quarterback's coach. Cousins, the quarterback. Cousins threw for over 4,000 yards, 27 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. But it was a decent season by Kirk Cousins. They finished 7-9, but it wasn't really necessarily too much Kirk Cousins' fault. So the fact that the familiarity is there with O'Connell and Cousins, I think is another reason why O'Connell can succeed. But yeah, I mean, everything is in place. You have a great run game and Alexander Madison and Dalvin Cook. You have a great quarterback. You have two great receivers. I mean, just that defense. Sign those free agents, draft the right players. Your defense will be completely fine with Kevin O'Connell, and that's why the Minnesota Vikings is the most primed for success in 2022. Oh, I also forgot. Aaron Rodgers up in the limbo in that division. He's going to leave the Packers. Who's the best team if Aaron Rodgers leaves the Packers? The Minnesota Vikings. Why aren't people talking about that? Easily could win the NFC North if Aaron Rodgers is not there. That's my thoughts on Kevin O'Connell. Leave your thoughts and your opinions down below if you guys think otherwise or if you guys agree. Would love to hear your thoughts. All right. Let me go ahead and see if I can pull up this video yet again. But let me go ahead and see if you guys are hanging out in the Discord and you guys are not. That's okay. That's okay. It's the off season. We don't have a lot of traction right now. But I encourage you guys to go ahead and join that Discord server if you guys have any sort of questions or if you guys just want to talk about football, want to talk about anything. I encourage you guys to click that link in the description and join that waiting room channel and see what you guys are wanting to say and call into the show live as we are live streaming this. But let's go ahead and see what you guys are commenting down below in the chat as well. Daniel is coming out and said, I really like the Commander's name. Hey, there's some people that like it, some people that don't like it. I always told myself, I was like, hey, I don't care what the name is. Please, 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 please don't be Washington Armada. That's it. That's it. Don't be Washington Armada. I mean, you're fine. But Commanders, we're going to have to get used to it. It's not changing. It's not changing in the next 2 years. It's not changing in the 5 years. It's not changing for 20 years, 30 years. This is going to be the team for good. For good. My thoughts on that. Dasani, more like Hassani. I'll show myself out. Who would the Steelers QB be next season, or who would you like to see? Who would I like to see? I would like to see Aaron Rodgers. I think that'd be pretty cool to see him in black and yellow. It's black and yellow, not black and gold. For you guys that think it's black and gold, it is black and yellow. But yeah, I would like to see Aaron Rodgers. I don't think a lot of people would like to see Mason Rudolph, but if that comes down to it, then sure. Deshaun Watson would be pretty cool. I mean, you got Mike Tomlin, you got Brian Flores there. I think that Deshaun Watson might be a little bit more open to playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know that his reps or his team or his sources, I don't know who came out with this report, have been saying that the Minnesota Vikings and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the top two targets for Deshaun. I don't know how true that's going to be, but you know, that could be a chance that Deshaun could be playing for one of those teams. All right, hey guys, I got the hard drive working, so I can go ahead and show you what I was going to show you back in the day, but I wasn't able to. So let me go ahead and pull this up. Yeah, boy. Is it playing? Is it playing? All right, here we go. All right, so let me show you what I was going to be talking about in just a bit. All right. So let me go ahead. If you guys are just now tuning in, let me go ahead and set up the story. All right. So Super Bowl Media Day. It is Super Bowl 54 Media Day. I'm waiting in line to talk to Tyreek Hill of the Kansas City Chiefs. And the way it works is if I'm sitting here, I'm Tyreek Hill, and there's like a little barricade that surrounds Hill, and there's a bunch of media members that are like fighting and like, you know, pushing elbows, trying to get to the front of the barricade and get a question in with Tyreek Hill. Tyreek, what are your thoughts on the game this weekend? Everybody's up front in the line trying to get in place to interview Tyreek Hill. So anyways, there's like media members, probably like 10 of us around the barricade that are waiting to get a question in. I'm up on the corner right here, and I am waiting, patiently waiting until everybody else, they get their time, whoever was here first. A lot of the media is on the same page. Some people are a little bit like, no, I'm going to cut in front of you. Like, yeah, well, forget those guys. But most of the time, people are like, hey, yeah, you were here first. You answer your question, and then I'm going to go ahead after you. So that's what was happening. Like, this guy was answering question or asking a question. And I think at this point, if we can go ahead and pull it up. Oh, my gosh, is it not playing anymore? Is it not playing anymore? Well, look at my face right there. That's my thoughts right now on it not playing. Oh my gosh, quick, yeah. Forget that. Dang. It's not pulling up. Well, hey, another mistake. My bad. My bad. Not working again. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and forget about that. Forget about that. Don't worry about it. Yeah, my hard drive is it's crapping out on me. That's not good. That's not good news. This is my life. It's my job. That's on that hard drive. Anyways, yeah. But to finish the story, for you guys that are just now tuning in, even though I don't have the visual, a woman that works for Extra, the company, came up, cut me in line, and started asking her asking Tyreek Hill very dumb questions about pop culture that had nothing to do with the NFL, nothing to do with him, nothing to do with football. And then my face in it was just freaking hilarious. But you guys will never have the chance to see that. Follow me on social media. I'm going to go ahead and film this as a separate like little TikTok or whatever. And then I'm going to go ahead and post that. Golly, sorry about that, guys. All right, well, we don't have any more questions or anybody else on the live chat tuning in. So I'm going to go ahead and just end the show right here if I get the chance to. Man, I had a graphic pulled up for the the closer. But we may not even be able to do that because it's not working. Well, hey, on that case, I guess I'm just going to have to see you later. I have nothing else to say at this point. But yeah, we appreciate you guys tuning into this episode of Time to Football. Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel and stay tuned for everything else that we're coming out with throughout the offseason. I know that on Tuesdays we'll come out with top 10 lists. So if you guys missed the videos that we came out with, hilarious videos like top 10 players we got right, players we got wrong was another one. And then next week, we're coming out with, I think, 10 running back twos that could be starters in the NFL. So it's going to be a very, very good video coming out on Tuesday. And then on Fridays, we're going to be talking about fantasy football, coming out with our preseason rankings, like starting on Friday. We're going to be calculating the stats, showing you guys how we calculate it every single Friday, and letting you guys know what we're hearing in OTAs throughout the offseason on which players are going to break out. DeAndre Swift, Jamar Chase, Evan McPherson, Jalen Hurts, Deebo Samuel, Dalton Schultz. Like, these are all players that nobody else really expected to break out, but we did because we were following off-season news and what people were saying. So make sure you guys subscribe to this channel so you can stay up to date with that and get an idea on who's going to be breaking out for the 2022 season. Is this not going to be popping up now? All right, well, hey. I'm waiting for this closer. Gosh, the worst episode of Time to Football in Time to Football history. 100% top 10, the worst episode ever. Ever. I need someone to run behind the scenes. Let me know if you guys want a job. I'm hiring.